Okay, we should be live now. Sorry about the delay. My name's Ryan. This is the DFS 5-Pad. Most of y'all know that since you're currently subscribed to the network. If you aren't, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep talking. So I was asked politely, nicely, and then tipped to keep rolling with the two-game playoff slate. So that is what we will do over here. We'll break down most of these throughout the rest of the playoffs. Obviously, we're only down to 4 teams, so they got to spread things out. I don't think we're going to get any more two games on a day in the NBA playoffs. I think we're all just game after that. So we'll cover some of these though, and just kind of have fun with it. Do what we can. Hopefully, we can win some money and all the good things that go into NBA DFS like that. So obviously, we got game 2 of the Clippers and Suns tonight, and then tomorrow my Bucks take on the Atlanta Hawks at home. Should be some fun series. Kudos to my Bucks, of course, but also kudos to the Atlanta Hawks for taking down Philly. That was an impressive series. I know most people didn't expect them to be here, and most people don't expect them to be competitive. And I was asked about this, and I said, hey, man, as a Bucks fan, you got to like the spot that we're in. But I'm not counting any chickens on this one because Atlanta's proved to be a lot more formidable than we all expected, playing defense under Nate McMillan. So even though I know a lot of people are calling for Milwaukee in 5, there's every opportunity for this to be a series. Atlanta keeps surprising people, so let's give them a little bit of credit and go from there. Guys, we will do a sports battle a little bit later on. We'll talk about tonight's game. Again, Suns and Clippers should be a good one. I think we're set for a good series in this one. And even though the Suns got up in this one and could easily go up 2-0-0, I don't think we can ever count the Clippers out at this point, even with Kawhi missing again tonight. And CP3 is also apparently out tonight. Although with COVID protocol, until I see him not out there, I'm not going to completely think like it's impossible since they're being really, really hush-hush. Great time to grab a weekly membership since we still got some NBA write-ups to come out, and you get both sports with the weekly membership. Let's start for cash game lock. So, as far as studs goes on this slate, we got Trey, we got Giannis, we got Paul George, we got Devin Booker. For cash games, I'm going to stick with Devin Booker while CP3 is out. He proved enough to me in game 1. Obviously, I told you guys he was the stud of the day, and that's what everybody was doing anyway, so it wasn't exactly a bold call. He played like the stud of the day. He did what we thought he would do, and even a little bit more. 40-point triple-double. He was nothing short of phenomenal. And the Clippers have proved throughout the playoffs that they struggle with athletic playmakers like this. You saw Luka give it to him all series. You saw Mitchell play really well before getting injured. And now you got Devin Booker very much in the same mold as the playmaker. Now, when Chris Paul gets back, that'll be a little bit different. But for right now, he is a little pricey at 9,600, but he earned that price tag. This guy had 77.75 DK points last game. Is he going to replicate that? No, probably not. But he can take a big hit off of what he did the other day. I actually feel pretty good that the assist numbers will stay about the same. The points probably come back down to earth a little bit. I call for 30 to 35, not 40. And the rebounds probably come back down to earth a little bit. So I look for him more to give you about a 60 DK point night than 77. He was great in game 1. I don't think the Clippers have the ability just to stop him. You know what I mean? I know all series people kept saying, well, they'll find a way to stop Luka. They never did. Mitchell was stopped by an ankle injury, so that was the only thing that kind of slowed him down. I think Booker continues to boogie out there, do his thing. This is game 2 still at home in Phoenix, and there is something about this Phoenix Suns team. You just have to like the cut of their jib. I actually, Colin Cowherd mentioned this yesterday, and I like it. They're a little bit of an old school throwback team in the sense that, they're not positionless basketball. These guys have roles. Devin Booker is a shooting guard, right? Not great defensively. He can make plays. Obviously they're better when they have their point guard, Chris Paul, but he knows his role. And I like just the way that this guy plays. And I have no fear that he's going to go out and play a really good game again tonight. He was built for stuff like this. I know everybody's calling him the new Kobe the last couple of days. I mean, he does have some Kobe in him in his mentality, right? This is just he's not scared of situations like this. So, I fully expect Booker to have another really, really nice game. Probably not as nice as game 1, but that's not saying a lot. 40-point triple-doubles are not easy. We've seen a few of them, but, it's not an easy thing to do. All right, next up, let's talk about Rajon Rondo. So this is where things get tricky with the Clippers. And for good or for bad, Coach Lue has done kind of an interesting job of going deeper into his bench. The Bucks and Nets turned into a caricature of the opposite of that, right? You got the Nets playing like legit like five guys, and the Bucks going like six and a half deep. So like they are the opposite end in that most recent series. What the Clippers do is they go a little bit deeper. Now there is no Kawhi Leonard, and there is Marcus Morris. From the best of what I heard, he's playing, but he's clearly not 100%. So this does hinder the depth of the Clippers just a little bit. So Rondo played 22 minutes in game one. And if you tell me I'm getting 22 minutes of Rondo in a situation like this, give me Rondo. I have no reason to believe otherwise, except for the fact that Coach Ty Lue has been, mixing and matching as much as anybody throughout the playoffs. So I feel pretty decent about Rondo tonight. I think they need him in this situation. However, I am also not going to be flabbergasted if he, plays 8 minutes tonight. If I had to bet on 28 minutes or 8 minutes, I'd bet on 28. The answer is probably somewhere in the middle. But neither one of these sides would surprise me. That's kind of what Coach Lue has been doing. I love the cap space that he offers you right here. So Rondo sat out a couple of games. Was a DMP coach's decision, and then he was back in the rotation. So again, Lue is changing things around. And that's why I have Rondo under GPPs. Is he fine for cash games? Probably. Based on game one, I expect him to get ownership at this price tag, playoff Rondo, et cetera, et cetera. So you can probably just play him anywhere. But I do still feel like what you can expect out of him is more of an unpredictable GPP type of play. So probably gets enough ownership, and the cap savings is so good that he should be popular enough for cash games. But, you never really know with this Clippers team. It's one of the things that's exciting about them. Reggie Jackson has been playing amazing. But would any of us be like super surprised if all of a sudden Reggie Jackson played 26 minutes and Luke Kennard played 26 minutes or something? No, I don't think we'd be surprised by it. I don't think it's your best bet. I'm just saying, like, they are switching things up a little bit on the Clippers, and I expect another good game tonight, but who really knows with the Clippers? All right, next up. So let's talk about my boy Giannis. The turnoff could be the fact that, like, he was playing such big minutes, they had to go to overtime, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is all true. But one, like, this dude's an elite athlete. He is a worker. He's in the gym. He's in really, really good shape. And they got a bunch of days off between Saturday and Wednesday. The Hawks played more recently. And the Bucks are at home. So if this was one of those things that, like, the Nets-Bucks game had been the day after and then the Bucks were on the road, I would actually be a little bit worried about Giannis. But at home, getting the extra day off, I like it. Also, he's got to be feeling more free and loose. And, if a big part of him has been mental, right? Like, physically, he's obviously a very, very strong young feller, but mentally, we've all been a little bit suspect to Giannis, and me included. I'm as big of a fan as there is, but, you saw him come up a little small in multiple playoff series, so you were a little bit worried. You had every right to be worried, and you can still be worried a little bit. However, game one, at home against a 5-seed Atlanta, I do not expect this team to take this one lightly. I know that you could subscribe to the theory that the last series was like the championship for the Bucks. I mean, I can get how you can get to that mentality. That is not what I expect out of them. So, again, could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. That's not what I expect out of them. I expect them to take care of business at home in game one. On the road, I might be a little bit worried about them, but at home with some fans, I think Giannis and the boys play well. And they're just too big for Atlanta, which is going to ultimately be the problem. They're equally as athletic, but they're just too big. I know Gallo's 6'10", and Collins is 6'10", 6'9", and Capella's decently sized, but the Bucks have a lot of size. They don't have the undersized Trae Young. We got Bogdanovich and Herter and stuff like that. So they're just a little bit too big, and Giannis should be able to do what he wants in the post on this one. Next up, Mikal Bridges. So I guess this is not a long shot. Bridges plays big minutes. One, because he's a good player, but two, just he's so good defensively that it's hard to really take him out of the ball game. You have him and Jay Crowder playing great wing defense, and, Bridges is a young guy, a lot of energy, really developing greater and greater confidence throughout the playoffs. He's been very impressive to me. I like the Suns team, man. Again, if it wasn't for my team still being alive, I would be all in on watching the Suns team win. I really like what they do. And Bridges is a young, really nice 3-and-D player. I think is a good play in tonight's game. So look for him to get some open threes. They tried real hard to trap Devin Booker last game. Didn't work out very well. But they're going to try probably even a little bit harder to get the ball out of his hand tonight. Force other guys to be playmakers, whether this is DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne, Bridges, Crowder, you name it. They're going to want to get the ball out of his hand. This should lead to some assists and hockey assists for Devin Booker as far as getting Mikal Bridges wide open threes. And clearly, the situation's not too big for him. He's been making his threes, and he's going to get more of them tonight. So I like the idea of GVP upside. I also think he's consistent enough for cash games. All right, last up, Zubac, who is definitely a little bit more of a long shot. And let's talk about the fact that Marcus Morris, he's not 100%. Again, even if he plays tonight, which it sounds like he's going to, he's not 100%. So you saw Zubac played more minutes in the second half last game. You saw Boogie play some minutes. And they seem to make adjustments and like the idea of having some size out there. Now, does that continue today? I don't know, man. Lou will mess with you guys a little bit, mess with me. I feel like Zubac is going to play some minutes. I would not be surprised to see Zubac starting this game. I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing off the bench. I wouldn't be surprised to see him being up to MP. That is why he's under a long shot. I called him out as a long shot last week. It failed miserably. I called him out as a long shot earlier in that series. It worked out very well. So I'm one-on-one as Zubac on a long shot. He's in my long shot category again today. Hoping to go 2-1 on this one, but it's a risky play for all those reasons. Again, he's 3,300. And I think Boogie might be in play. I'm also not surprised if Boogie's a DMP. I thought he played amazingly in the minutes he was given, but he still didn't see a lot of minutes, and he's been a DMP primarily throughout the playoffs. So who really knows what Coach Lou's going to do for you all today or do for us today, but I like the idea of Zubac to play some minutes again today, mostly based on the fact that they gave him good run in the second half, and also Marcus Morris is just not himself right now. That is what we got for today, fellas. Thank you, and good luck tonight/tomorrow night.